Let's go ahead and get started. We have a busy agenda. I'm super excited for everybody to come out. Thank you so much for joining. The name of this event today is Power Community Finance. It's hosted by Mission Driven Finance. Mission Driven Finance is an impact investment firm that really wants today's event to be geared towards hearing what the community needs, how we can help, and sharing a little bit about us. And really the goal is to share that we have capital and we want to connect that to the community more than ever in these desperate times. Okay, so to get started, we want to introduce our fellows from Mission Driven Finance. This is the first inaugural cohort. It's 5 different individuals coming from different backgrounds, really working hard to deploy capital into communities that need it the most. So first off, they're going to introduce their favorite food and a favorite thing that they love about Mission Driven Finance. And first to introduce herself is Louise Jordan.
Hi, my name is Louise Jordan. My favorite food or snack at the moment is apples and peanut butter. It's like the perfect combo of sweet and salty. Some of the work that I do at Mission Driven Finance is focused on nonprofits and finding ways to meet their capital needs. So making sure that we're being very flexible and diverse in our approach when it comes to being creative about our capital deals.
Hi, my name is Crystal Sevilla. I am a simple gal. My favorite food is pizza. And a lot of my work at Mission Driven Finance has been revolved around getting capital to small businesses and nonprofits in Latino communities.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Benson Oshira. And my favorite food right now is actually California burrito. So, my favorite things and Mission Driven Finance has been getting the opportunity to connect with borrowers, being at the front line, speaking with borrowers, understanding how Mission Driven can help.
Hello, my name is Essence Rodriguez. My favorite project working with Mission Driven Finance has been our ECE initiative, which we aim to increase the number of quality seats in early childcare and help providers build wealth. And my favorite food is tamales.
Thank you guys for sharing. I know it's pretty early, but boy, talking about food really does make me hungry. So my name is Andrew Moncada. My favorite food of all time has to be sushi. The weirder the sushi roll, the better the food it is. And my favorite thing about Mission Driven Finance is connecting with nonprofits and small businesses, and more so getting out there and connecting with affordable housing projects that really want to do good for these communities. Next slide. So really want to touch base really quick about our agenda for today. First off, we want to talk a little bit about the COVID-19 capital landscape. What type of capital is there? What are the different types? And what could you be looking for during this pandemic? Secondly, we want to talk a little bit about what is Mission Driven Finance and how to use impact investments to fill capital gaps. Nextly, we'll get into how can we get your organization ready for impact investments. And then we'll hear from Ahmed Shadid, one of our speakers, to speak a little bit about his experience in Mission Driven Finance. And lastly, we'll have a Q&A portion at the end to make sure that we get all your questions answered and best answers there. Next slide. So before we dive in, just want to make sure that we get this out of the way. Everything here is informational and does not constitute financial or legal advice. So just wanted to share that, and now we can get into the rest. So when we talk about the capital landscape during COVID-19, we can see that it really ranges from emergency relief grants to rebuilding grants and forgivable loans. And there is some element of working capital and bridge loans as well. All of these are really meant to keep the doors open or increase capacity during these times. They're offered by different lenders, but I want to share a little bit about Mission Driven Finance. As I mentioned, it is an impact investment firm. And as such, we take a different holistic view into financing. We, we do not look that much into credit scores. We are a different type of lender. We love complexity in the sense that we understand that not every organization has clear-cut financials or a way to get to their needs, their capital needs. So we understand complexity and we live in it. One thing that we do look for is alignment with our potential borrowers. And, you know, another thing is size and timing. That's something that we're a little bit different here at Mission Driven Finance. But all of this to say that we work very hand to hand with all of our borrowers to make sure that they get the best possible loan transaction that they can get. Next slide, please. So talking a little bit about us being an impact investment firm, you might have the question, you know, what is impact investing? And a lot of times we may think about mainstream investing, which is really moving money based on the future you predict. The difference in impact investing is moving money based on the future that you want. You can see that the key component here is intentionality and what you wish to create in your community. Next slide, please. So a little bit about Mission Driven Finance and what we seek for and what we invest in. Really want to touch on 3 core elements of what we look for. We look for organizations that prepare people for success through access to health, education, and housing. We really look for businesses that provide quality jobs, hire from their communities, and support the development of their employees. We find that very critical. And lastly, we invest into systems and infrastructures that allow more people to participate in a positive and growing economy. We see that these 3 are core to the pillars of what we look for, and we invest into organizations that fit any of these 3. So now that I talked a little bit about the capital landscape, what Mission Driven Finance does and what impact investing is, it's time to understand how do we get your organization ready for impact investments. And here to speak a little bit more on that is Crystal Sevilla.
Yes, thank you, Andrew. So now we can get into Mission Driven Finance specific loan programs and what it really looks like to work with us. So we underwrite based on 3 different modules, that is impact, management, and finance. These modules are specific to Mission Driven Finance's underwriting. However, they're similar to what any other impact lender would require. Simply put, when we look at impact, we want to know what specific pain point is your organization solving, and we want to make sure that your organization is committed to advancing economic opportunity. When we look at management, we want to know what motivates the leadership team. We want to make sure that you're a coachable, trustworthy, and respected individual in your own community. And finally, when we look at financials, we want to know if you have had trouble getting sufficient affordable capital from other traditional sources, such as a bank. Is your organization in a position to be able to comfortably service our debt? This is a high-level overview of what we typically look at, but now we can get into our specific loan programs. The first is Advance. So this is our standard loan program. Through this loan program, we offer loans ranging from $100,000 to $500,000 for nonprofits and small businesses, with terms typically ranging up to 5 years. This capital is meant to help post startups that are doing impactful work in their community, who are also seeking to grow. In terms of the process, as I said, we work our way through the 3 underwriting modules, but in addition to that, we offer custom tailored technical assistance to everyone who applies. If we ultimately find that an organization is not a great fit for this loan program, we refer them out to other lenders that are better aligned. What makes this loan program different is, as Andrew mentioned previously, we do not look at credit scores or require personal guarantees. And our second loan program is the San Diego County COVID-19 Small Business and Nonprofit Loan Program, or as we call it, Snowball for short. This was designed with the help of the San Diego Foundation, And this loan program is actually intended to provide 0% interest capital to San Diego serving nonprofits who are looking to fill capital gaps that were brought on by the COVID-19 landscape. So these are $50,000 to $300,000 loans with a 0% interest rate up to 30 months. And while those loan programs only currently lend to San Diego-based organizations, we are currently building other pools of capital that are not place-based. So Essence, if you can go to the next slide. The first is People on the Move. So this is designed to support the lives of immigrants, refugees, migrants, and survivors of trafficking. And the second is Project Equity, which is designed to support businesses that are converting to employee ownership. We have capital in all of our loan programs, so Advance, Snowball, or these two that are coming up. And if you're interested in any of them, please feel free to reach out to borrow@missiondrivenfinance.com. Lastly, I want to talk about some organizations that we have lent capital to, simply to show how diverse our portfolio is. So the first is Monica Group. They are a collection of local businesses, and when they went to traditional financing, they found that their organizational structure was too complicated for other lenders. We provided them a loan of $300,000 to refinance high debt that they had previously taken on to grow their operations. The second is Angels Foster Families. So Angels is a nonprofit organization that provides safe, stable homes for infants and toddlers that are in foster care. Their revenue is reimbursement based, so they do not always have the capital available to grow their operations or hire more angels. We provided them with a loan of $250,000, and that allowed them to expand their quality case management services. And lastly, we have the Skinny Jean Project. They're a nonprofit dedicated to preventing type 2 diabetes. We gave them a loan of $100,000, and that was to allow them to prepare for increased contract support. So as you can see, mission-driven finance is very flexible when it comes to deploying capital. We can do very intricate, complex deals in all sorts of industries such as education, healthcare, affordable housing. Diversity, we also provide Islamic financing. Our first deployment of capital through Islamic financing was to an organization called Somali Family Services. And I will pass the baton off to Benson to give you more information about that organization.
Yeah, thank you so much, Crystal. And talking about Somali Family Services, so we have our guest speaker today, Ahmed. Ahmed is President and CEO of Somali Family Services. So this is a nonprofit organization. Its mission is to empower migrants, refugees, and other underserved communities in San Diego through programs that promote health, education, economic justice, and leadership development. So Ahmed is here with us today. Ahmed, so glad to have you here.
Thank you.
How are you doing today?
Very good. How are you?
Not bad. Thank you so much, Ahmed, for being here. So tell us a little bit about Somali Family Services. What do you do for your community?
Thank you, Benson. Thank you, MDF team. Glad to be here this morning. We are a nonprofit social service agency that works with immigrant and refugee population in City Heights areas, but also serve residents throughout San Diego County. We really focus on 4 program areas. We focus on economic development. Specifically, we run micro enterprise programs and workforce development, where we assist and support a small business. We provide a lot of educational programs and also technical assistance. We really help some of the smaller side of the community, and also provide a lot of hand-holding process and helping them to not only run their businesses, but also help them how to access to capital for their businesses, as well as developing workforce. The second pillars of our program is focused on health and wellness. We have a lot of programs that focus on health education, disease prevention, community engagement, research. We really have very in-depth programs of health and wellness program for the community. And then we have, education and youth empowerment program that focus on education, focus on art and culture, leadership development, and we have been running in that program since the inception of our program. And before COVID, we had almost 100% graduation rate of the students going from high school to higher education. This program, we actually started as a gang prevention program years back, and where a lot of the students were not able to graduate from high school and really was, falling into the cracks. So through that, mentorship and leadership development and, support services, were able to not only eliminate, gang activity, but also able to really have 6-7 years of consistent 100% graduation rate to higher education. And we still follow up during their college, to help them to navigate the college process, to help them with scholarships and internships. And now we open a fellowship, within our youth department where they can come back and serve the community. We have also a program that's specifically designed for new arrivals and refugees that focus on case management and, helping them with, connecting with resources, and kind of, addressing that safety net, especially during the COVID-19. We have been doing a lot of emergency assistance and rental assistance and utility assistance, and being able to provide, some of the safety nets that, a lot of the community are facing, such as unemployment and so forth. And then finally, we have a program that is more community engagement and outreach. So this usually change depending on what kind of initiative that we're taking. In 2020, we were focusing a lot on the voter engagement and the census and things like that. Right now, we're very much focused on COVID-19, community engagement, outreach, and education, and just well over 100,000 people, I think, we reached since COVID-19. So we're very active in the community and have been really trying to respond, some of the, challenge that the community is facing.
Fantastic. Yeah, so great to hear, Ahmed, a lot of things that you're doing to support your community. And for our audience, if you must know that Ahmed is also, I've had a long-time relationship with Mission Driven dating back to 2018, yes. So Ahmed, I hope this relationship has been positive for you, but I'm not going to put the word in your mouth. I want to kind of, for you to share with the audience a little bit about some of the key takeaways from this relationship with Mission Driven Finance over the years. And if you may, please tell us a little bit why your organization choose to pursue financing through Mission Driven Finance.
Thank you, Benson. Yes, we have been working with Mission Driven Finance, since 2000. I knew the leadership, way before that. So it has been a blessing experience, to work with the leader in the Mission Driven Finance. As a nonprofit that cater to underserved population, access to capital has been really a challenge, especially for our organization. In 2018, we received, number of, sizable grants, and those grants was really requiring for reimbursement. And so we did not have a working capital, and we didn't have, the kind of cash flow that we need to, build our infrastructure, our capacity, to hire the right people, to make sure that, our, finance are, that we have the cash flow, to execute, those, contract. One of them was, from the city of San Diego, and then we have another one. So we really look into, our options, and oftentimes as a small organization, and you don't have a lot of, things, or we don't have a lot of, asset, we might not be a good candidate for a typical, loan with the bank, and we were very fortunate, to work with mission-driven finance. We also predominantly serve, large number of the Muslim community, and there is some restrictions in terms of us, going to the traditional loan. So we were, we work with mission-driven finance. We were able to, customize the loan that meet our need, which is, Islamic finance. We really, commanded to mission-driven finance to have vision and the creativity to be able to add this portfolio into their lending process. So I think we were the first agency that were able to secure Islamic finances through a mission-driven finance, and that was really a turning point, for our organization, to have the kind of capital that we need. In 2018, we really grew the organization. We were successfully implemented that grant for 2 years with the city. We were able to secure more fundings. We were able to leverage, that funding and have the peace of mind to have that cash flow, that capital. And then, we start thinking really to, as a nonprofit, to think about growth and development, whether it is in the area of technology, in the area of sustainability, and the impact that we want to make in the community. So I would say probably since 2018, we really have a significant impact with the community in terms of all the areas that I mentioned, the health outcome, the economic outcome, the employment services, the education. Obviously, all of us, I think, now know COVID-19 has thrown us, curveball. But even that, I believe that because of our relationship with mission-driven finance, and because we were, had the vision to kind of, put infrastructure in place, we were much better than many other nonprofits that have faced significant challenges. So with that, I think we only have one layoff, but even that, we were able to actually hire more staff. So we double our staff as we're speaking right now, and we are doing we used to roughly serve about 4,000 to 5,000 clients a year. Right now, as I said, just since COVID, I think we reach more than over 100,000 outreach numbers, and maybe over 6,000 individuals has been served. So the demand is very high, but I think we're prepared, and we're very fortunate to have working with partners and local government and philanthropy, such as mission-driven finances. So it has been a very positive experience for us, and I think we're one of the very fortunate organization to have that relationship.
Yeah, so glad to hear. So I know at the beginning you touched a little bit. One of the programs that you have going on right now is the economic development, and my understanding is that you supporting a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners in the community to get access to capital, because that's one of the areas that's been a challenge for a lot of communities, a lot of business owners. But I guess if you can share with our audience a little bit some of the capital gaps. Given your interaction with these business owners and nonprofit leaders and community in general, so what are some of the capital gaps that you are seeing in the community or in the nonprofit space that you've been operating for some time right now? And my follow-up question to that is, how can mission-driven finance as an impact lender, impact investment company, be part of the solution to address some of this capital gap that you are seeing?
Thank you, Benson. I think one of the things that I have seen in the nonprofit, and I think again, as I said, we're very fortunate, to have this relationship and being able to work with mission-driven finance and kind of meet our need for our organization. But I know there is a lot of other nonprofits that are really struggling, and I think one of the challenges is to have there is a definitely capital gap in the nonprofit sector and in the small business community. Oftentimes the infrastructure to be able to qualify, for finance is not there. And I think it's a two-front. I think one is, the lack of, support and the technical assistant and, kind of, doing the due diligence and, being able to put your finance in order and, things like that. And the second is the access to that capital. And, oftentimes, borrowers, face, real challenge in terms of, meeting, an entity where they can, get, a finance and that have the flexibility. So that flexibility, oftentimes, and understanding that community and the challenge that they're facing is very real. And so if you look, in the immigrant refugee population that we're serving, even the nonprofit sector that we're working with, a lot of them has closed their businesses. A lot of the business has closed during the COVID-19. A lot of the nonprofit are, struggling, had a huge layoff. The infrastructure has been impacted. So the biggest challenge, I think, is access to capital, and that capital has to be flexible from one from the lending entities. And I think Mission Driven definitely have the right structure, but the other part is also to work with the community and make sure that they're prepared and they're also receive the kind of support and the technical assistance so that they can be eligible for such opportunities. And so I think there is a lot of education, a lot of hand-holding, a lot of technical assistance. And that's what we do as SFS. We help with them, we intake, we develop business plan for them. We kind of, educate them. They have to go through serious educational workshop. Some of them are technology based, finance, understanding, the business landscape, the competition. So that need to be done. But also, once they're ready and once they, want to get access to capital, they receive, they encounter a lot of, red tapes. And so oftentimes, as you see, CARE Act and other, lenders are, providing services. When you see, how much that trickle down to the community, and if there is any successful, close, application, it's not much really. So there's a lot of work that needs to be done. I believe that Mission Driven Finance is at the right place. I think we can definitely collaborate within the nonprofit, also within the small business. But I think it's need a collective, impact and collective, collaboration. Benson, I think you're muted.
Yeah, I was muted. Yeah, thank you so much, Ahmed, for sharing your experience and overall vision that you have for your community. I think that one thing I've learned about you during the time that we've been working together is that you are always forward thinking and always looking for the best for your community. And I think that the lived experience you have just shared with us today will help Mission Driven engage in the community to see how we can help close the capital gaps that few that you mentioned. So again, we don't have much time, but thank you so much for spending your morning with us today. And it has been an absolute honor to work with you, and thank you so much.
It's a pleasure to be with all of you guys. Great work at Mission Driven Finance. Continue to do good work, and we're glad to be part of it and support the community.
Thank you. Yeah, so I'll pass it to Luis, who will lead us through the Q&A so we can get to hear from some of the audience.
Hi, team. Hi, everyone. Thank you, Benson, for presenting. Thank you, Ahmed, for sharing your story. SFS is just a really great example of one of our portfolio companies who are very tenacious, very active in the community, and serving overlooked and underserved communities. As stated earlier in the presentation, Mission Driven Finance is looking to get capital out in the communities. We are looking to deploy capital to good businesses doing good work, as well as good nonprofits doing good work. Right here is a link to our contact form. Like if you're interested in looking more into our products and services, I'll also put it in the chat. But if you're interested in kind of like reviewing more and having further conversations that are more one-on-one with Mission Driven Finance and the rest of our team, and talking about your capital needs, you can kind of go to link. The page is presented on the screen, and you would kind of click on the Here button, which is circled in red, and it will it'll lead you to a Google form where you would submit your information. And, from there we can kind of get started. But, thank you all for attending today. Everyone did great in presenting. We're going to move forward to our Q&A because we had a few folks in the chat who asked a couple questions. I think first was Susan Lamping. Her question was, and I hope you're still on, she asked if we could talk a little bit more about the level of technical assistance that Mission Driven Finance provides. Really good question. That definitely varies depending on the stage that the potential borrower is in. I think a large part of our technical assistance comes through our underwriting process, where we ask nonprofits or small businesses to kind of submit certain materials, whether it be financial, management, like based materials and impact-based materials, to kind of really focus and assess where they are and what position that they're in. There are some instances where, maybe a borrower may not be a good fit, but with that being the case, Mission Driven Finance is very interconnected. We're very much connected to other partners and other resources within the San Diego community who can provide you that like hands-on technical assistance. So, even though we're very flexible, even though we do like complexity, our main goal as a finance institution is to make sure we're getting you the necessary resources, we're getting you the necessary help that's needed. And we would never put or, not address some of the issues that individual borrower would have, without doing so. So it's very important for us to kind of continuously keep going with the conversations and providing those resources so that we can help them get to a better state, so that when they are ready, kind of begin the journey of seeking impact investments, they can. I'm sure if the other fellows would like to address that question as well, but definitely free to do so.
Yes, I will say a lot of our technical assistance also comes in the form of framing out what impact looks like for a business. So a lot of businesses want to have meaningful, impactful operations. However, a lot of the times they don't have the tools or resources to frame out what that impact looks like. So we set up calls with every one of our borrowers to, I'm sorry, that is my dog, but to develop an impact plan in coordination with their business plan and their financial plan, something that makes sense.
Awesome. Thank you. Thank you. There was another question from Anthony Brazier. Hopefully I'm pronouncing that correct. I didn't mean to butcher any names. And I believe it may have been addressed in the chat, but the question was, do you support nonprofit organizations' financial needs outside of San Diego? As of now, like as it was addressed in the chat, a lot of the programs and funds that we have are focused on place-based investments in San Diego, but definitely are in the works of developing more projects that will be able to invest in other organizations kind of on the country, specifically the People on the Move Fund, which Crystal addressed earlier, which is a portfolio that will support nonprofits across the country serving migrants. A few other questions, one from Carrie saying, can you talk about some of the capital needs you've seen over the course of this past year? I'm not sure which one of the fellows want to answer that. Maybe Andrew or Crystal. Is that a question that either you would like to take?
Yeah, I'll go ahead and talk a little bit about that. Some of the capital needs that we've seen a little bit in the small business and nonprofit loan program with the San Diego Foundation has really been around, bridge financing, getting to those gaps. As you know, nonprofits work on different type of operational schedules, and sometimes they could be on reimbursement or grants or something about a contract later on. So really the capital gap is really to have some cash flow to get them to that point and for them to continue operating. That has been one of the biggest capital gaps that we've seen. In addition to that, we have seen a little bit of, having some working capital to make sure that you can continue operations while waiting for that capital to come in as well. And yeah, I think that's been a good amount of the capital gaps that we've seen, especially for nonprofits. And sometimes, when it comes to small businesses, we do see capital gaps as it pertains to, certain sectors. For example, one of them being the hospitality and restaurant sector. We're currently working with a restaurant to kind of get them to expand to a different location. And, traditional investors or traditional lenders wouldn't really want to take on that risk, but mission-driven finance sees that as a gap to fill in the community and is willing to take it on and make sure that it's best for the borrower and best for the community.
Yeah, and also to add on to what Andrew just said, I think my interaction with a lot of refugee-owned or migrant-owned businesses is that a lot of them came to the country and they don't have great credit score or the lack of understanding for the overall institution. So I think that credit gap, because when they approach the typical lender, they go to bank, they ask for the credit score, and they don't really have anything to show for. So that's really been a barrier, and in the common theme among refugee and migrants community.
Awesome, thank you guys. We have another question that just came in from Lorenza Riviero. And that question was, what do you recommend for newer organizations in startup phase? And are there any plans to support affordable housing projects? I know the last one in particular we've done specifically, and I believe either Crystal and Essence have been working on affordable housing projects or have seen needs and capital for those. But I can answer the first part of the question in regards to newer organizations in the startup phase. And just kind of to my earlier point, like we're making sure to, ensure that, we make sure you get the resources and assistance that you need. So we do know folks in the San Diego community who do provide that one-on-one TA assistance and can help you think about, dividing your business model. What is your revenue model looking like? Whether it be kind of like figuring out your financials, how to put together a balance sheet and an income statement, all those things. There are resources that exist with other organizations that we are in partnership with, that we work with very constantly, and we can definitely refer those organizations to them so that they can to a better place that is growing and much more sustainable.
And in terms of affordable housing, so we have actually approved a loan for a moderate income housing project in the Logan Heights area. We have not actually deployed capital, so not sure how much I can talk about that. But that is coming at the end of the month. That is a 12-unit project in Logan Heights. Our advance cap is $500,000. So a lot of the time when we think about affordable housing, it's partnering with other foundations or other lenders to come in and close the capital gap, right? A $500,000 max doesn't give us a whole lot to work with, but we're always happy to come in and close financial gaps.
And then adding on to that, we're currently working on a low-income housing tax credit deal. We are by no means experts, but as Crystal mentioned, we're working with 2 foundations to undergo that underwriting. And as Andrew mentioned earlier, we have no problems digging into complex deals and learning what we can in order to help bring more affordable housing to San Diego.
Awesome. We have one more question, and this was, are many nonprofits / businesses coming to MDF with similar concerns or requests? I can speak more specifically to the nonprofit space because I've worked with so many during the course of this fellowship, but a lot of the concerns in regards to capital gaps have been finding ways to meet their need when it came to the loss of donations, loss of contracted revenue, or delays in contracted revenue and delays in grants. As you know, this pandemic has been a whirlwind of issues and challenges, and everyone's just trying to figure out the best way to move forward and adapt. And some of those challenges have been in regards to kind of responses from previous government and grant funders. You know, how are they going to get capital, or how are they going to get revenue to continue a lot of their programs and services? And, you know, Mission Driven Finance has been able to come in and help fill some of those gaps while they wait, as, you know, they begin to assess the need and adapt to the situation. So those are some of the things that I've seen specifically towards nonprofits. Anyone else want to chime in?
Yeah, so I can talk about small businesses. I think it's not far off from what you just said. I think with small businesses, this COVID-19 really impacted the overall cash flow. And, you know, they are really very resilient, and they're trying new ways, shifting business model to accommodate the current environment that we live in. So with that shift really come cost, and then if you're not really getting cash flow coming in, so there's already a barrier there. So just a similar problem that we see Hover and Hover as they try to shift the business model. They need more capital to keep operating and moving forward.
Awesome, team. I think that's it for our questions. We thank everyone for attending. Thank you, fellows, for presenting. It was a wonderful experience meeting everyone today and getting to hear more about, you know, your questions and your concerns regarding the capital gaps in our community. Thank you, Ahmed, for presenting your story and talking more about Somali Family Services. So we do really appreciate you coming here today to speak. So thank you, everyone.
Thank you.
Oh, yes. If you have any follow-up questions, please, you know, feel free to reach out to Barbara at missiondrivenfinance.com.